my most recent single called Trust Issues. I'm a big fan of Teddy Swims, if you're listening, and I remember hearing Lose Control on the radio and being absolutely mesmerized by his voice, his storytelling, his capacity to just bring the entire song to life. I knew I wanted to create something kind of with that inspiration. I grew up on very strong soul R&B. Like, I love Beyonce, Rihanna, like kind of out of the norm. Like, a lot of people tell me, like, when I speak, it's very different from when I sing. It's very deep and soulful. And I just think, like, I grew up an old soul for music. Like, I listened to Aretha Franklin. Yeah, like, everyone's like, oh, that explains a lot. But I listened to a lot of older artists, like Stevie Wonder, all of that type of stuff. So, and I love, like, pop. So it all kind of just, like, made this mix and influence in me to kind of form the artist I am today. I kid you not, this is going to sound crazy, but the most, like, amazing songs sometimes will be like either late at night or in the shower. And so it's just like you never know where inspiration is going to come from. So like always keeping a pen and pad or like just mental note of anything, like just always staying inspired. I think as a songwriter, like the best thing you can do is use like real life altercations to write your music, especially since I'm like a storyteller. I love to like feel what I write, you know? I can still write pieces of music that, you know, maybe I haven't been through something to relate to like a friend or somebody else, but a lot of things that I write come from my personal experience. So yeah, trust issues, not gonna lie. I will never say who it's about because I love for my fans and for my listeners to interpret and make it their own. You know, maybe it's about a relationship to them, maybe it's about a parent or like any type of trauma, but it is personal. It is kind of like my little Taylor Swift situation where I'm not trying to diss them, but it's just like something that helps me heal and helps me cope, right, with those feelings of like having my trust being broken and kind of like all over the place, yeah. Sometimes people will do you dirty, but it's like sometimes they're going through things in their life that they don't mean to treat you that way, even though they do. So I'm trying to practice what I preach and be a very forgiving person. So I try not to like diss anyone. It's just more like a way for me to be like, hey, you did this to me and this is how I'm gonna cope with it. And I hope this can resonate with somebody else and they can, you know, cope with this as well.
I've been so many places in my life and time. I've sung a lot of songs, I've made some bad rhymes. I've acted out my life in stages with 10,000 people watching. But we're alone now and I'm singing this.
For a while, I was really discovering who I was as an artist and like kind of eliminating releasing too much music that I wrote and recorded because I was like, well, it is very like, and that's one thing about the industry that I aim to change. It's very like set in stone or like they'll try and put you in a box, but that's one thing about me that I'm like, I love multiple genres of music. If you listen to my music, it's very, it doesn't have a certain like niche or genre. It's like you can hear a little bit of like country twang of where I grew up from. It has some soul, some R&B, maybe a little bit of pop swing in the instrumental. So even like the mood of it being sad or happy, I try to write from all perspectives because like you said, like we're human. One day I'm gonna wake up happy and I'm gonna go to the studio and that's gonna be reflected there. So I think that's why like my album name too, I Don't Want to Feel Anymore, it talks about all the feelings, right? So it's like expressing how it's okay to feel happy one day but then sad the next, you know, and it's okay to like let yourself feel all those things, which is why I'm also partnering up with Mental Health America on my album to kind of just showcase how like I think as an artist or as an influential person, people perceive you a certain way than how you are, and you have to put up this like strong front in front of people. But it's okay to like have those moments where, you know, you don't feel strong and like to be authentic to what you're feeling that day. I think there's always room to improve and grow, and I know that I'm still learning. I'm still young. I'm 21, but I still feel like a little immature in the music industry just because there's so much out there and it's always evolving and changing. But I've come a long way, and I will say like the funniest thing is like my first studio experience. I'm a super loud singer, like a belter, like soul, all of that stuff. And so I went to the studio and I didn't like warn the producer, the engineer I was working with that I was like about to like go for it and like almost completely blew out my sound system. and like it was so bad. So now I kind of know what it's like to like mix and master music. I never knew what any of that process was like, of how you had to like do ad libs and like, you know, do stacks of vocals. I thought maybe like, oh, you just do the lead vocals and everything. But yeah, it's a very formulated process that's so picky and about attention to detail. And it's kind of hard because people don't understand, like as artists, like sometimes artists will walk in and they'll be like, oh, let's listen to your song. And the artist is like, please don't, just because we've heard it so many times in the studio, just because like it's just very attention to detail. Like you have to listen to it so many times to where you're like 100% on like all the little parts. And I find it to be an intriguing process because you get to hear like the first time you're in the studio of like what the process was like, which you always like have an idea of what the song's gonna end up sounding like, but by the time you're out of the studio, it's completely different than what you thought it was gonna sound like, in a good way usually, but it's just always like intriguing because you never really know how it's gonna go until it's done.
Love me, hate me, hurt me, I see, psychoanalyze you and the lies that you've been telling me. Tell me I'm mad, it's all in my head, it's killing me slowly, secrets in your bed. Tell me you're guilt, go tell her instead, tell her the same things you said. How could you do this to me? Baby, how could you do this to me? Love me.
I have another song coming out. It's called Over Again, and it's the second single off my debut EP. And that one talks about kind of the toxic cycle of being in a relationship where you express that some things are bothering you, or that basically any issues you're having, and then like the person either like promises to change, or they kind of do a self-reflection and they're like, okay, yeah, I'll fix these things, and then unfortunately it doesn't happen, and you just kind of are in that waiting period of like thinking and hoping that that person or that situation is going to change, and it doesn't. So then the same cycle keeps happening over and over again. So I kind of wrote that song also out of personal experience, but yeah, RIP. RIP my love life just getting exploited for the world to see, but that's part of being an artist. And yeah, no, that song really helped me cope with it. So. And I'm sure a lot of people relate. I've had friends and people, family members that I've known being in relationships where I've seen that happen for myself, really close friends and family members, that I knew that it wasn't just me, but a lot of people struggle with breaking that cycle because it can be very tricky. Yeah, so you can follow me on Instagram at daisy.close, and then you can see all my music on all music streaming platforms, Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon Music, you name it. And yeah, you can keep your eyes peeled for some upcoming shows I have. I'm actually going on tour in the LA/Hollywood area. I'm completely booked up all this month, October, November, and December. So if you want to come see me live at a show, that'd be really greatly appreciated. And I have all my show dates listed on my socials. Hi, my name is Daisy Close, and you've just been buzzed.